Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 296. CRM is my expertise. This is for Friday, March 29th, 2024. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
First quarter of the year is in the bag.
That it is. Time flies. Time flies indeed.
Time flies. Well, we've got a good show for you. Kind of another little bit of a slow news week from Zoho, but I don't know. Last week we had 4 stories and managed to stretch the thing for 45 minutes or something. So, let's see what we can do today. But actually, we've got some good ones. So with that, let's jump right on into the show.
Are you looking into starting a podcast? Or maybe just need some help putting it all together so you could focus on your voice telling your story? Introducing Podcaster Zen. From audio podcasts to video to live streaming a show, we do it all. Head over to podcasterzen.com for more info on how we can help you share your message with the world. Are you struggling to get your team trained in using Zoho effectively? Considering the hefty costs of team meetings and onboarding sessions dedicated to Zoho training, there has to be an easier way. Say hello to efficiency with our Zoho team training courses. Zoho CRM made easy. Become a project management pro, top-tier customer support, and maximize your marketing impact. Are you ready to equip your team? Start today at zenatta.com/training and let us lead the way. This episode of the CRM Zen Show is brought to you by ZPortals. ZPortals is a must-have extension allowing you to effortlessly coordinate with clients and partners. We configure ZPortals all the time for our clients who are looking for the best portal solution. And boy, do we love how easy it is to customize and the flexibility to connect to multiple Zoho apps. So don't wait. Check out ZPortals today and be sure to mention Zenatta to get 10% off your first month.
Junk data can clog up your CRM, making it harder to focus on the records that matter. Next thing you know, you've got a mountain of records to sort through, and you're not even sure where to start. This is why we created the Zenatta Health Check for Zoho CRM. This extension reads your Zoho CRM's users, leads, deals, accounts, contacts, and tasks data, and provides you with a monthly summary straight to your inbox of some of the key indicators of data quality for these core modules. With the Zenatta Health Check, you'll get notified in your monthly report whether or not you have unused Zoho CRM licenses, or if you have contacts missing email addresses, or accounts with no associated contacts. In addition, you'll get links to helpful videos and blogs from the Zenatta resource library showing you how you can clean up your system and keep it clean. We also include buttons on each of the core modules that let you generate your health check report whenever you need it. The Zenatta Health Check for Zoho CRM. A clean system is a better system. Download today on the Zoho Marketplace.
All right, let's start. We have no announcements to make other than we're going to be at Zoholics first week in June in Austin, Texas. And if you guys are heading out there, we would love to see you. We're going to be doing a little hospitality suite directly across the street at the Courtyard Marriott. Got a nice little space. And so if you see us walking around the show, tap our shoulders, we'll give you a little Willy Wonka golden ticket, and you can come on over and hang out with us. So hope to see you guys there. And in the events world, well, Tyler, we finally blocked off some time on our calendar, and so we are now going to be doing this Zoho One and Beyond, an overview of every single Zoho application. That's going to be quite the thing. The last one we did was just Zoho One. It took an hour and a half. We're going to try to keep it tight. We did keep it tight last time, but kind of run through all the applications, see where they fit in our resource library, which if you head over to zenatta.com/resources, we rank all of the Zoho apps, plus all of the videos, articles, everything we've done on those apps are just a click away. You just click on the app and you get all those. So that is what we have got coming up. Really, that's it. Then we did decide we're going to do data prep in May, and I don't think we figured out what we're doing in June yet, but we'll get that on the calendar here real soon. And Zoho has got some interesting stuff going on. They are continuing with their Empower series on social marketing efforts. That's running all through the month of May. And in June, like I said, Zoholics, that is going to be in Austin, Texas. It's on Wednesday and Thursday, actually. So it's all day Wednesday, all day Thursday in Austin, Texas, June 5th and 6th. So if you're in that area or you're planning on it, it's kind of strange, Tyler, they haven't done one since 2019 where it was everything. Last year, they did 3 little regional Zoholics. But they were limited, I think, to about, anywhere from 200 to 400 people at each one of those. 2019 was almost 4,000 people, if I remember correctly. It was huge. Hopefully the magic keeps coming, and we'll see what we got there. And it looks like we have another event here. This is the impact of AI across the data lifecycle. So with Zoho, so you can check that out as well. All righty. And with that, let's get right on into the news. All right. So you know how we always talk about ever when Zoho does a release, it's either a year release or a dot release. Well, Zoho Workly has us covered because we've got the all-new Zoho Workly 2024 2.0. So you've got both. We've got the year and it's 2.0.
And all the bases covered.
Everything's covered now. I like this. I like it a lot. If you are not familiar with Workly, we say this every time we talk about this product. We don't really talk about it a lot. It was introduced 5 years ago, and it basically is your temporary workforce management app, scheduling, all of those kind of things. And it seems like every 2-3 months they're doing some nice stuff. Well, I guess they saved it all up for a big brand new release. So you basically got a roster view. It allows you to change schedules on the fly. Module customization, which is kind of nice. You can actually customize the modules in Workly now. That's a big one. Custom temp data field. So for your temps, you can now have custom fields in there. This app was rather static before. So it sounds like, there are people that go, hey, I love this app, but I need to, make some changes to it. And now you can. You actually can have, if you are a workforce management company and you're providing temporary labor, you now can allow for your clients to go ahead and log in and create jobs. And
really
they've created, super nice. And a whole separate portal for your temps. I'm going to have to really look into this deeper, because I don't think we've ever implemented this product before, right?
No, I don't think so. It's never come up as quite the level where it satisfies a requirement. So a lot of the times when we end up needing to do some like temp management for let's say a staffing company, a lot of it gets built between CRM and Recruit because most things, if you look at Workly, you can see pretty quickly it's kind of a vertical version of CRM, right? So a lot of the things that are built there could just be built inside of the CRM natively. But a couple things. I like the idea of the roster view kind of making scheduling easier. They don't really show in that article. I was hoping to take a closer look at it, but I didn't see a lot of detail and kind of view. But essentially, you're able to get the calendar view, see all the shifts on it, and easily swap people around to make sure that everything is covered. So kind of a usability thing on the front end that might make it worth considering Workly rather than just building this inside of CRM. One last update here. I see you kind of paused on it. You can now do custom functions inside of Workly. So that any Zoho app, that is a great thing to have. They generally are going to work with other apps, right? Maybe a ticket becomes a job and you need to notify back to the ticket, or you need to write some data to CRM about a client. So being able to trigger custom functions is excellent. And then, it looks like they've rolled out a couple new mobile apps here. We're a worker app, a kiosk app, and then the overall Workly app. So lots of updates, kind of like you mentioned. Sometimes you see them roll out in kind of a trickle feed. It looks like in this case, they kind of kept their cards close to the chest to do a bigger 2.0 release here.
Yeah. Pretty full featured. They've added a lot of functionality in this. So, my guess is they must have a few agencies that are using it. Got somebody to pick it up, and they're getting a lot of good feedback. So, if you have a temp workforce or managed temp workforce for other people, check out Workly. It might just be the thing. We're going to have to do something. I don't think we've ever done a video on Workly, have we?
I don't think so. No, I don't think
Yep.
so.
Yes, on temp management. Anyway, nice job, Workerly team. And moving on, Tyler, on my desktop, I don't like to put things in folders. I like to put them in nests. Like I feel like each one of my documents is like a little egg, and I like to just drop it in the nest. And that works out for me. So because of that, I'm happy to see that Zoho thinks of folders as nests themselves. So I think that's two of us now. So anyway, if you're using Zoho Notebook, you might have, I do like it. It's a very good application. And if you're using Zoho Notebook, you now can, for the first time ever, group your notebooks, which is nice. So it's kind of been one of the biggest things in Notebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, basically every note is its own note. You can't really do anything. You've got all of these notebooks that are there. And so now you can create nice little groups, and you can group them and put your notebooks into various groups or nests, whatever you prefer to call them. It is a minor update, but for all the Notebook users out there, this is probably one you'd be very happy that it has arrived. There is a very long video on this blog which shows how you create the various groups and how you move everything over. It's not really drag and drop. It doesn't appear. It's kind of select and move kind of thing. But still, very nice.
Yeah, I mean, with any tool like this, where you're going to be taking lots of different types of notes, just having the ability to organize them is kind of a need to have. I was surprised this wasn't already there. We'll do that. We have that running joke, like, thought this would have already been there on the show. And this definitely falls into that category, but nonetheless, really nice for them to roll out. I'd imagine this will make lots of Notebook users very happy.
Yep. Strangely enough, we have a bird in our backyard that did not build a nest. It actually found a folder laying in the street and put it in the tree, and it just dropped its eggs right in that folder like that. So
essentially synonyms. Yeah, essentially synonyms.
It's crazy. It's crazy how that works. So, all right, moving on with the next story. This is kind of a nice one. Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong, but just a few months ago, didn't Zoho increase the export size out of CRM?
Yeah, I think from 20,000 rows to 50,000, and
Okay.
they're doing some more. So this is a kind of range of updates across the reports inside of CRM. Everything from increasing export limits. Now, put an asterisk there. I'll explain that. Email templates for scheduling reports, more options around grouping, specifically around like month and day without taking into account the year. Text wrapping for column headers, and then a couple little like minor user interface enhancements. So to circle back to my asterisks, I promised I would. When we're talking about the export limit, they have not increased the number of rows. So the number of rows is still going to be 50,000. What they've increased is that previously you could only pull big exports out of reports up to 5 times in a day. Now you can pull up to 200 reports in a day. So you can handle larger volumes of data. This is a great update. I would still love to see them continue to increase the number of rows that you can export all at once here. It's not a great user experience when you need to export more than 50,000. So really what you have to do is, it shows 2,000 per page. So if you had a report with 60,000 records, you could export the first 50,000. Then you go next page, next page, next page, next page until you're at rows 50,001 through, 52,000. Then you export again. So I'd like to see kind of a new UI of maybe selecting multiple exports. Like even if they had to send me 2 files, it'd be fine. I would just like to be able to get the whole thing at once. But a really great update. I mean, data mobility and data flexibility is a big thing in any application. So the easier it is to get data out and put data in, I'm always gonna be a cheerleader for.
Well, I would always do it slightly differently than, because I got tired of paging. I would just kind of figure out alphabetically. I would be like, give me all records, A to F, and then G to whatever, and this to whatever. And I'd learn those reports, and they all were within the limits. And I just do 3 separate exports, because otherwise the paging is just a pain. But
nowadays I pull a lot of this type of data through analytics where there aren't really strict limits on the number of rows. But not everybody uses analytics or has access to it, which is why these type of updates are still really important.
And
one little one here that they
Well, if
Go
you're
ahead.
a CRM Plus user, I do want to point out that you have the ultimate edition of CRM in CRM Plus. You can buy it separately, but most people get it because they're buying CRM Plus, and you actually get 300 exports per day if you're using that. So there you go.
Yep.
I interrupted
One
you.
other, oh, you're all good. One other little thing that they kind of snuck in here is setting up permissions for users around exporting reports. So this is one of those ones where I think, and don't quote me on this, maybe someone leave a comment if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure the way it worked before, if someone could view a report, they could export a report to a CSV or an Excel file locally. And that's not what you always want to give, right? Like there's tons of situations where you're allowed to see this data in CRM, but shouldn't be able to walk with it. So now you can actually set up that someone can export or not export from the reports module, which is a pretty big deal in terms of data security. So let me know if I'm wrong, if anyone knows off the top of their head in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it was just if you could view, you could export. And if that's the case, this is a pretty massive change that will help people keep those data sets secure.
No, I know that under leads, contacts, accounts, you can you could say whether or not someone had the ability to export, right? But that would be a huge loophole if you locked out leads, you couldn't export, but you could run a report on leads and still export. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like that wasn't the case, but I think it was. One other little thing they added here is setting up email templates for reports. And you might go like, well, I don't really see when I would use that. The main use case here is when you're scheduling an email that's going to send a report to someone. So like, let's say I sent new leads this week and I send it to Brett every Friday. Previously, you just had no control over that email template. So it'd kind of just be a standard Zoho CRM template. Now you can customize it, write your own language, reference any of the data about the report in there. Really nice little quality of life improvement there for scheduling reports.
Very, you're right. It was before. It was very basic. I'm going to send this on the 30th of each month, and here's who it goes to. And it's like, here's your report kind of thing. You've also, so this is interesting. In reporting now, they've got some enhancements on how you can group things in your reports. And remember, this is in CRM. All of this stuff, around these reporting enhancements, you can easily do over in Zoho Analytics. CRM has always lacked some really key features when it comes to grouping data. And you're now, you can do it by calendar month. That's nice because you could never do that easily before, right? It was never really a thing.
And like the important thing, if we scroll down just a little further for the YouTube viewers of like what the difference is here with the new month filter is basically the old month filter. Yeah, right here is perfect. The old month filter would always include the year as part of that filter. So it'd be January 2023, January 2024. Now you can just say, group these by month, regardless of what year it is, which then gives you the ability, again, if you're watching us on YouTube, to kind of have like your columns be the year and your rows be each month within those years. So you can compare the year or the month of January in 2022 to the month of January in 2023 much more easily. So this is actually a really nice one. I know, Brett, you used to have in CRM, right? It was a little field that would get stamped with the month that something came in, just the name of it, so that you could make reports exactly like this. I'm sure lots of people have those types of workarounds in their system, and you won't need them anymore. So that is really nice to see.
Yeah, we stamp it with month and separately stamp it with year because you couldn't even do that back then, right? So you'd have to split those up. And anyway, and you can now create charts for this type of report, basically performance over years, performance over month. You can do some very, very nice charts. Again, there have been workarounds for this for a while. All kinds of crazy things you can do based upon various fields, but now it is just kind of native. So that is very, very, very nice. You do the same thing with days now. Was birthdays now new? Nope, just they're showing us some other charts here. Column groupings. Previously, the reports module in Zoho CRM only supported a 2x2 grouping, where the first number denotes the row and the later number denotes the column. With this enhancement, you can now do 3x1 or 1x3, which is kind of nice because it allows you, again, to get more enhanced groupings in reports, which has always just kind of been a bit of a problem. So very
it's
nice.
one of those things I always have to remind myself, because I think, oh, you could always do this in analytics, but not everyone's on Zoho 1, right? And a lot of people don't want to pony up for more licensing, right? So being able to just do this natively in the CRM is pretty great.
And a crazy one, but it now supports wrapping of texts as well. Something, I thought that was already there.
We got 2 of those this week.
That was already there. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can do that. Anyway, that kind of wraps it up. There are some minor other enhancements. And as always, if you want to get the full news of everything, all these articles are in our newsletter. So if you just go to zenatta.com/newsletter, every week you'll get a full rundown of all the news that happened in the world of Zoho. And oftentimes we leave stuff out of the show because it's kind of very minor and not really worth talking about, but it is in the newsletter. So be sure to check that out. And wrapping up the news this week, I already thought that was a thing, but you can now set your default properties for the email composer in Bigin. Bigin is Zoho's lightweight, mobile-friendly CRM, although it's not so lightweight anymore. It's getting more and more features added onto it. It's very similar for those of you that are familiar with Kanban-style CRMs, Pipedrive, those kind of things. It's got those kind of features to it as well. They have been basically adding on integration after integration after integration to it. And then they're starting to fine tune some stuff. So a small thing is you're sending emails out of Bigin, and you can now on the back end in settings determine what the font will be and the weight of the font. And you can set these preferences for individual emails, mass emails, and so on. So really, it just kind of allows you to go in and set the composer settings. So the email composer, you can now do something that most, it's nice that it could be for personal email, mass email as well, right? You can kind of differentiate those, whatever you want to do there. But very cool. Kind of a thing that you would think would already.
Yeah.
But good. So anyway, that is going to wrap up the news. So with that, let's head over to our implementation of the week.
Alrighty, so implementation this week, built up by George and Andrew on the Zenatta team, is kind of a custom integration between Calendly and Zoho, specifically all centered around the deals module. So a lot of the times we mentioned on the show before, in a lot of use cases, this wouldn't be necessary. And you could just integrate Calendly to something like Google Calendar and then sync Google Calendar into Zoho. And that will add all of those meetings in as, meetings for leads and meetings for contacts. In this case, there were some specific requirements, right? Where there's a set of different types of meetings that happen throughout the course of a sales process. Each of those meetings has a different name, might be with a different member of the team, different kind of agenda for it. But the holding of each of those meetings will require next steps and activities. So our goal was to essentially tightly integrate that Calendly framework into the CRM to connect directly to the most relevant deal for the contact that had just booked or attended one of those meetings. So because we have those different meeting types and because we want different things to happen based on each of them, we connected Zoho Flow into Calendly, which has a trigger for any time a new meeting is booked. And that trigger will include the data about what type of meeting it was that person had just scheduled. So then based on the type of meeting, we can essentially run the data through a deluge function that will reach into the CRM, find that contact who had just booked the meeting, pick the appropriate deal related to that contact, and then take the necessary actions on that deal. And that could be updating fields, moving the stage, sending text and email information to that contact who just booked, creating tasks internally if there's things that we need to prepare in advance of that meeting, right? So if we know that the meeting booked on a Friday, we'll make a task with a due date of Thursday. If it booked next Wednesday, then that task can be due the following Tuesday, right? Because we always want to have something done, a day ahead of time. Big advantage here in doing it this way is that you're centralizing all of this communication to that deal record. So you may be thinking, well, Calendly could send an email confirmation, Calendly could send a reminder, and you'd be correct to say that. But the challenge is then those emails will not be stored directly under the deal record. They'll be stored via IMAP under like that contact. And we really wanted everything centralized here. These are deals that have a longer sales pipeline, where having all that information centralized is really relevant, because we might need to look back at a conversation from 3 months ago in the process of closing a transaction. So really tight integration. Great job to George and Andrew for putting it together. We do a lot of work with Calendly, and a lot of the time we can take that kind of simple path of just going straight to the Google Cal and then having that sync in. But there are these cases where we need some unique functionality that just would be a little trickier to do without having Flow as an intermediate.
And this is all made possible because Calendly has a beautiful API, which is so nice.
And it's better now than it used to be. It used to be actually a bit of a pain in the butt where you had to make a separate OAuth connection for each user in Calendly. A while back, they centralized it now, where you can make one to an admin user and then get data about all of the users' bookings through that one connection. So a little, sideline shout out to Calendly for changing that, because it used to be a bit of a pain, because if you had like 20 people in a Calendly account, that means 20 flows, all looking for different triggers, and now it can all be centralized into one.
And it may be one of the more costly scheduling applications out there by far. But I tell you, we have looked and looked and looked, because we got the whole company using Calendly. There's just nothing that does what it does. I mean, it just group meetings, round robins, the ability to check out everything it does exceptionally well. So cool implementation, George, Andrew, nice job. And with that, let's head back over to Club Zenatta and check on our code share of the week. All righty. If you don't know, before we get into this, Club Zenatta is our online social network, our town hall, our meeting place. It's where we gather around the drum circle and talk about Zoho. Sometimes it's a campfire. It doesn't have to be a drum circle for those of you that, don't like drums. But if you head over to Club Z, you can leave questions, you'll get answers. It's just a couple thousand people in there just talking about Zoho. And we also, this is where the questions come for our question of the week over at Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho. All the news stories are out of there in real time as well. We do crazy things like, hey, things we noticed, check this out. It just goes on and on and on. We'd love it if you would join. All we ask is your email. And for that, you're not going to get anything but our newsletter every Monday morning at 6 a.m. Pacific time, which if you're into the Club Z, you probably want to get the newsletter anyway. But part of this is we also do our code shares. And these are for those of you that are dabbling in Deluge or other things, saying, gosh, I wish there was an easy way to do this or that. Sometimes we give you easy things. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's a little more complicated. But this is an interesting one. So Greg has posted here how to upload and delete a file or image in a Zoho CRM upload field. So this is not, if you're in the CRM, the attachments. This is a specific custom field you can drag over, which is for file upload. And so this is basically the ability to manipulate that image through Deluge once an image has been up there, or to populate it once an image has been up there. So what do we got going here, Tyler?
Yes, a couple kind of blocks here. First, we show just grabbing an image. It looks like Greg is getting an image of the Mona Lisa from Wikipedia, just making a quick GET request. And then he takes you through what you need to do to upload to that file upload field, because you might think, oh, I'll just take that image, put it in a map and insert it. No, there's a middle step. Josh on our team has a running joke about the magical cloud that all of this data will pass through. So you need to actually take that file, call it a file. That's what that set param name is. And then upload it to ZFS, which is Zoho File Share. That is a specific endpoint that basically parks this file temporarily and makes it accessible for different fields in CRM. And this is a case if you want to put it in the attachments related list, or if you wanted to put it into the attachment field specifically. Then all you need to do is get the resultant ID from that, put it into a map where that lines up with that API name, and make your insert. And then it will go right in. I will highlight, maybe we'll do a separate code share for next week. It's different with an image upload field. Colton and I on our team had to bang our head into that for a little bit when we tried to use this exact same method. There's a couple differences. But then he also shows how to actually get that file back out and even delete it if you needed to. Again, just all via API. So really useful. Some of the structure here is just non-obvious, when you play with it, but a lot of this code should pretty much be copy paste. Only difference is you're going to pull from a different file source, and you probably have a different API name for that field. But otherwise, yeah, this is pretty plug and play. So great job by Greg. This will, again, I always like to imagine that developer stuck on a work item they're working on, who just stumbles onto one of these code share items, and it saves them 10 hours of pain and suffering. So good job, Greg and the team for posting these every week.
Fantastic job. And with that, let's get to our sort of tip of the week, but in this case, kind of, hey, a new product overview of the week. So Tyler, my brother, you have been on fire lately with some of these videos, and Zoho's been doing quite a bit of things, but they released a new app called Zoho Tables, and it is basically Airtable, smart sheets, those kind of things. We often say on this show that the best project management tool is the one you like using. So if you are into sprints, then you can have Zoho Sprints for project management, agile project development. If you are into big old Gantt charts and kind of Microsoft projects where those kind of things, well, you can use Zoho Projects. And now, increasingly popular over at least the last 10 years has been, Smart Sheets kind of grabbed it. It's a spreadsheet that's smart. And then Airtables came along and added some stuff. So now Zoho has their third project management tool officially, which is now Zoho Tables. What were your thoughts, my friend?
Really solid. Yeah, really solid so far. So, I mean, it's a version 1. There's definitely more things that they're going to add. In this video, I kind of go through 2 ways that you could go about this. I first show like making a base from scratch. And you could use this for lots of different things outside of project management. It assumes you're going to use it for project management when you get started, but it's a sheet, right? So you can add whatever you'd like in here. Really easy to create different views, quickly flip it over into a Gantt chart, update data. Pretty solid set of automation functionality as well. It doesn't look like you can trigger deluge actions quite yet, but you can do quite a lot outside of deluge. Really, really solid tool, really easy to use. Second half of the video, I kind of go through using one of their templates. I think I pulled one for a software development project because I'm not very creative and that's what I'm used to. So we went through an example of one of those templates as well. But yeah, really, really solid tool. We'll definitely be making some more content about it. Probably in a kind of more advanced walkthrough here coming soon. And then one other thing we do want to cover that actually one of our team members pointed out to me is you can integrate tables with CRM to sync a particular module over. So that is functionality that I'm really excited to see because I could think of a ton of use cases where certain modules you just might want to work on in more of a sheet view. And the Zoho CRM sheet view is just always pretty limited, kind of ugly. Like it's not a very functional tool to really work with that data, where pulling it over to something like Zoho Tables would be a great way to handle certain sets of CRM data.
Is this a real-time sync? So if I change it in the table, it's going to change it in the CRM?
Pretty sure, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's a real-time sync.
Wow.
So that'll be pretty exciting to take a look at. But yeah, great application, really nice. I mean, I could even see like pulling over CRM tasks just to be able to put them on a nicer Kanban. There's like a lot of different things that you might want to do just pulling data into a more flexible environment like this.
And it looked like the Kanban views were solid here.
No, it's good. It's a very solid version 1. Like the UI, the workflow of like customizing it all is pretty quick and painless. So one thing, it will be included with Zoho One, which is going to be great. So no additional charge for Zoho One users. Right now, they haven't formally added it. So you would have to reach out to support@zohotables.com. And then they add it pretty darn quick for you into your Zoho One license. And you can just jump on in and get started.
Very, very nice. That was my next question. Did they make it part of Zoho One? That is a nice addition to Zoho One.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very good. Nice job, Zoho. Well, that is more than a tip of the week. I guess it's just a full, hey, here's how to use it and here's how to get going with it. So nice job. And with that, let's move on to our question of the week. So over at Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho, we have our question of the week. And this question this week was, how do you configure organizational emails in Zoho for better workflows? This came to us from Terry Stevens. And so basically, if you aren't familiar, you can have your own email and you can set up organizational emails inside the CRM as well. Oftentimes, these can be used for various things. And Ben is going to tell you the benefits of setting up organizational emails. Maybe you're not using Desk and you want support, or you want some various other organizational emails that are going to come in that you can send from. Going to take you through it, give you the best ways to set it up. Anything to add to that?
No, I think they kind of go through a little bit about Zoho Mail, a little bit about CRM, kind of show a couple of the different options here for getting it done. Big shout out to Ben. I think this is the first YouTube video he's jumped in on. So welcome to the Thunderdome, Mr. Wojda. But yeah, great video, well worth taking a look at if you're looking to improve how you manage emails inside of Zoho.
Fantastic. And as always, you can find all of our videos over on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Zenatta. We would love it if you would head over there and subscribe. We are releasing videos on almost a daily basis. So it's interesting what it's giving here for me. For me, it's just saying, Brett, you probably like CRM Zen shows. Have you ever watched those before, Brett? But we drop things, like we say, almost on a daily basis. If you look here recently, Tyler dropped this one, and then we have the new Zoho tables, and then, so we have what we just talked about, Zoho tables. Changes to X API support was 5 days ago. Anyway, it's just constant. You've got CRM Zen shows, you've got Azaz, you've got tips of the week, and of course, once a month, we're dropping in one of our massive product overview videos as well. So we hope you find this useful, and head on over there. And like I said, subscribe. And by the way, Tyler, it was a big week. Another angel got its wings this week. Yes, we had 16,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I want to thank you guys very much for supporting us. Anyway, I guess that's it, my friend. Another week has come to a close. Another quarter has come to a close. And what does the rest of the year hold? We're heading into summer,
I guess we're summer, creeping up on show 300. What was today? 295. So we are imminently approaching our 300th episode here of the CRM Zen Show. So if anyone has any ideas about how we can celebrate, I think at show 200, was that when Josh said Hawaiian shirts?
Hawaiian shirts. Yep.
So maybe not Hawaiian shirts. No idea why he recommended that, but we did it anyways. But let us know how you'd like to see us celebrate 300 shows. We appreciate all the support and engagement that you guys give us over the past years of doing this. It's been a fun ride.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Again, thank you so much for listening to the show. And if you would like to talk to Tyler, myself, Josh, or other people over here at Zenatta.com, if you just head to our homepage and click on Book a Meeting, we'd be happy to talk with you and see how we can help.
On the website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, we always appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.